Basketball fans, welcome into today's show, and free agency is right around the corner. We're going to be live all throughout it, so I want to make sure that you've subscribed to youtube.com/chatsportstv. But not only that you've subscribed, but also that you've hit that notification bell, because things are going to be happening on the fly, and they're going to be happening fast, and I'm going to have you covered all off season long. So make sure you've subscribed today. But now, let's get into our free agency preview, and we'll start off with Anthony Davis. Obviously, probably going to return to the Los Angeles Lakers after he opted out of his $29 million player option, but we at least had to mention him here because he's by far the best available free agent. I expect him to return to the Lakers, and he will be eligible for the Supermax in a couple years, so he'll probably sign a 1+1 or a 2+1 kind of deal. Now, former Los Angeles Laker Brandon Ingram is also available via free agency, but he's a restricted free agent with the New Orleans Pelicans, and I think the Pelicans will end up giving him a max offer on day one, and that's what a lot of people around the league expect to happen as well. Had a breakout year, definitely deserves that max offer, does Brandon Ingram. Now, third best free agent, not all of these are in order, but these top three probably are, is Fred VanVleet of the Toronto Raptors. VanVleet is honestly a very special talent, and there was a lot of chatter that he might go to a team looking to where he can get a ton of money, like the New York Knicks or maybe even the Atlanta Hawks. But now people are starting to say, he's probably going to run it back with the Toronto Raptors, and I think that's the safe call for Fred VanVleet because this is basically his team here sooner rather than later. So Fred VanVleet is about to make his money in Toronto, and rightfully so. Now, one deal that is perfect for you is what our friends at Manscaped are hooking you up with at manscaped.com/chat. When you go there, you get 20% off and free shipping on the Lawnmower 3.0, the best male grooming kit that you can find, the best male grooming tool, and the most powerful. Look, I got it right here. I wouldn't have it if I didn't believe in it. Go to manscaped.com/chat. Pick yours up today for that 20% off. Or, hey, for all of our female watchers, go get one for your husband as Christmas is right around the corner. You need something to put in his stocking. Men are hard to shop for. This is a super easy gift. That's manscaped.com/chat. Now let's go to Montrezl Harrell. He is an unrestricted free agent this offseason. I think he will probably look to be back with the Clippers, but I don't know where he's going to end up. There's been a lot of chatter about him going anywhere except the Clippers as well. He tweeted out on the morning of free agency that today's going to be really interesting, so I'm interested to see where he ends up. Danilo Gallinari of the Oklahoma City Thunder is set to make a good chunk of change, although he said that he's willing to take less money to join a contender. But then all of a sudden the Atlanta Hawks have turned into a front runner for Gallinari, and they're definitely not a contender by any means. The Miami Heat and the Dallas Mavericks are showing interest in Gallo as well, and he could be a prime sign-and-trade candidate for the Thunder this offseason. Now, I got a two-part question coming up for you. I want to ask you this. Who do you want your favorite team to sign in free agency? Go ahead and comment down below in the comments section. Let me know who your team is and then who you want them to sign. I'm going to make this a pinned comment on today's video, so all you got to do is scroll down and reply. Now, one guy that's been in the middle of NBA offseason drama is Bogdanovic of the Sacramento Kings. He was nearly traded to the Milwaukee Bucks in a sign and trade. And then all of a sudden he said, whoa, I never agreed to this. I haven't signed anywhere yet. I'm not even a free agent quite yet. This isn't right. And the deal kind of fell apart. So it looks like Bogdanovic is not going to be going to Milwaukee, but I don't think he's staying in Sacramento either. This is one to keep an eye on during the offseason. Gordon Hayward of the Boston Celtics recently opted out of his $34 million player option in a bit of a surprise move on Thursday afternoon. Now, Hayward's shown flashes of his old self, his Utah self, and there's a lot of teams showing interest, including the Hawks, the Knicks, and the Pacers, but still kind of up in the air as to what Gordon Hayward might do. Davis Bertans of the Washington Wizards is set to get a nice little pay raise after he became one of the best shooters in the NBA, and there are reports coming out of Washington that they are going to give him an $18 million offer, and I can't see any other team in the league willing to offer that much for Davis Bertans. I like the kid. I think he's a great player. $18 million? It's a little steep. Not willing to go that high for him. Goran Dragic is one of the more veteran players, one of the true veteran players in this free agency class at 34 years old. Now, he suffered a pretty significant injury in the finals that kept him out for a while, but he's also going to get a generous offer, or so we've been told, from the Miami Heat. So expect him to return to Miami, but who knows? There could be some other teams willing to give him a few more years. Jeremy Grant of the Denver Nuggets is a player that I love a lot and I think deserves a good pay raise in today's free agency, or really throughout free agency as a whole, because he's a great defender, he can catch lobs, and he can hit the corner threes. A lot of people think he's going to stay with the Denver Nuggets. I think he'll stay with the Denver Nuggets, but he could also be a prime sign and trade candidate if some team decides to overpay for him. I think Denver needs this guy back. I think they will look to bring him back and add him and keep him a part of their core. I think Jeremy Grant is one of these guys, but I think there's a lot of other underrated free agents in this class. But who do you think the most underrated free agent is? Let me know in the comment section below as you're watching today's video. Comment the most underrated free agent you can think of right now. Let's go to Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets, another unrestricted guy, and someone that probably Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving want back on their team, but some teams probably going to look to overpay him, much like the Atlanta Hawks. Maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers want to bring him back, but if that happens, Brooklyn could look to sign and trade him so that they still get something for their sharpshooter in Joe Harris. One underrated guy that I think of is Christian Wood of the Detroit Pistons. He turned into an absolute monster when Blake Griffin was riddled with injuries in Detroit this year, and apparently he's only going to get a deal worth the mid-level exception. I think that's an underpay for Christian Wood. I think he deserves something in the $12 to $15 million range. Now, one guy that's probably going to get underpaid, or at least he thinks he's getting underpaid, is Carmelo Anthony. He had a bounce-back year with the Blazers, but now there's teams like the New York Knicks that are looking to bring him back into the mix and potentially give him a bigger role and a bigger contract. Now, if I'm the team, I'm not giving him more than a minimum, maybe the mid-level. Still a solid player, but Carmelo of old is not the current Carmelo, but let me know where you guys think he's going to end up signing this offseason. Does he go back to New York? Does he go back to Portland? I actually think Denver would be a perfect fit, although I'm not sure those relationships have repaired. But go ahead and make your predictions in the comment section. Where do you think Carmelo Anthony ends up in free agency? Another veteran guy, Serge Ibaka, is somehow still just 31 years old, although it feels like he's been in the NBA since I was a baby, but he hasn't. He's actually still just 31 and can contribute at a high level. The Brooklyn Nets and the Lakers are the two notable teams that have shown interest, so keep an eye on those two. Let's go to another veteran big man in Paul Millsap with the Denver Nuggets. He's 35 years old, but he proved in the playoffs and in the regular season they can still play at a high level when healthy. Just need to make sure that he is indeed healthy. Reports have come out that he's going to take his sweet time deciding where he goes in free agency, so I think it'll be interesting to track where he ends up. There were leaks of a Paul Millsap Dallas Maverick jersey on NBA.com, but I'm not sure that's where he goes. We'll just have to keep an eye on this one. KCP of the Los Angeles Lakers is one of the most notable guys on this championship team that has decided to opt out and become a free agent. Now, during the finals, during the bubble, during the playoffs, he truly proved himself as a third option, which was kind of weird and probably not a guy you want as your third option, but teams like the Hawks and the Lakers, of course, are very interested in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I think he ends up back with the LA Lakers. Jay Crowder, another member of the Miami Heat that's hitting the free agent market. He's expected to receive a, quote, generous one-year offer from Miami, much like Goran Dragic. So I think he will be back with the Miami Heat this year. He's a tough guy, he's a veteran, and he's a good shooter. I think he goes back to Miami, but unrestricted free agent, he can go anywhere he wants. One guy that's been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons lately is Malik Beasley. He's a restricted free agent, and he's had a little bit of legal trouble that has made his stock dip down. Now, there have been reports that the Timberwolves could look to sign and trade him because they like him, but with the legal troubles, they don't really want to pay him that much money, as they've got a young guy like Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and D'Angelo Russell in that locker room. A veteran guy, Marcus Morris of the Clippers, is set to hit free agency. He's going to be an unrestricted guy. This guy offensively has been great, but also the mental awareness not always there. Clippers might be looking to bring him back with JaMychal Green hitting free agency, but I think a lot of teams could find some value in signing Marcus Morris for the mid-level or a veteran's minimum. One final guy I want to mention and focus in on here is Hassan Whiteside of the Portland Trail Blazers. Look, Whiteside puts up big numbers. He still rebounds well. He blocks shots, but he takes a lot of plays off. And that's why he's probably not going to get a big contract this year. But some team like the Lakers, the Warriors, or the Los Angeles Clippers could definitely use him to add to their bullpen rotation of big men. Now, we're at near the end of this video. Not quite all the way there. I still got a few more underrated free agents I want to take a look at. But I want you guys to make a prediction in the comment section. What do you think will be the biggest shock of the NBA offseason? Maybe it already happened. Maybe you were shocked by the Chris Paul trade. Maybe you were shocked by something in the draft. But give me your predictions in the comment sections, and you can come back to this video and say, hey, look, I called it. Go ahead and make that call down below. Let's go to a few more guys here that I didn't want to really take too much time talking about, but at least wanted to mention. Tristan Thompson's hitting the open market, as well as Aaron Baines of the Phoenix Suns. I actually like Derek Favors, but he's kind of more that old school big man, unrestricted free agent for the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't expect him back in New Orleans. Jordan Clarkson is a guy the Utah Jazz want to keep around, but we'll just have to see. And then Marc Gasol, there were rumors that he might be going back to Spain, but now it looks like he's staying. So snip, snap, snip, snap. We don't know what he's going to do right now. Bobby Portis actually just had his team option declined by the Knicks, so he's an unrestricted free agent. Kind of a big man with a lot of toughness, but also kind of an idiot at times. Nerlens Noel, the Oklahoma City Thunder, he's a clutch client. Watch for him to go to the Lakers potentially, but there's a lot of teams that really could benefit. I've heard the Sixers are interested in bringing him back. Dwight Howard of the LA Lakers is looking to get paid and a bigger role. We'll see what that happens there. I think he goes back to Los Angeles. Rodney Hood is an unrestricted free agent. And then Avery Bradley just opted out of his $5 million player option and is looking for a bigger role, but potentially goes back to LA to continue starting there. Now, before we get out of here, I want to remind you guys one more time, because you guys are the true fans that are all the way at the end of the video. I want to make sure you have subscribed, because if you haven't already, you're going to miss some awesome NBA coverage from me, Tom Downey, Harrison Graham. We're going to have it all for you all throughout the offseason, so make sure you've subscribed and make sure you've hit those notifications. Also, if you want more NBA coverage from me, go give me a follow on Twitter at Jimmy_Crowther.